NFL Sunday recap. I will be talking about some of the games that that I think are worthy of talking about on Sunday. Some of the good matchups and things of that nature. But the first one I want to talk about, man, is Patrick Mahomes. There's two quarterbacks to me that are surprising me this year. One of them is Patrick Mahomes. He threw 4 touchdowns, I believe, last week. And this week, he threw 6 touchdowns. The kid is playing very well, but I'm not surprised under Mike Holmgren because he is pretty good with quarterbacks. He had Smith. He had Smith there last year, and he did very well. He had him there. What he had him there like the last 3 or 4 years. He was there. Alex Smith was there 3 or 4 years, and he played very well. But the only thing about Alex Smith is he doesn't have a great arm throwing downfield, and that was the only thing that was missing in Mike Holmgren's offense was a guy that can throw the ball downfield, that can stretch the field, a guy that you can look at and say when when other teams game plan, they can say, well, this guy can make every throw, and he can make every throw with confidence, and he can get the ball down the field, push the ball down the field, because that's what the NFL is right now. The NFL is about pushing the ball down the field. You know what I'm saying? So he can do that. He can do it very well. Now he's playing very well right now. It's going to come sometimes during this year where defensive coordinators are going to eventually catch up with him because right now there's no book on him. There's no book on Patrick Mahomes because there's no book on his tendencies right now. I say around about game 5 or 6, you will see he will start regressing. Now, I don't know how much he's going to regress, but he's going to start regressing because they're going to have film. The more film you have on someone, the better, because then the guy, when you go out and teams start playing against him and they counter what he does, he's going to have to come with another counter. Then the Kansas City Chiefs going to have to counter the counter. And then we'll see how, good he is as far as when he start seeing more complex defenses, more looks. But right now he's setting the league on fire. Because I remember Cam Newton did the same thing when he came in the NFL. His first year, I'm going to say Cam Newton, first 6 games, he was like crazy. Like 3-4 touchdowns a game. Like, really, he was off the charts. And eventually, the NFL caught up with Cam Newton, So they will catch up with Patrick Mahomes. Then we'll see, just how good he is in his progression. But he's still a young guy. He's, 21 years old, maybe 22. So he got a bright future ahead of him, as long as he, stay, in his playbook, master the playbook. As long as he stay humble and accept coaching. That's one thing about, young players. Sometimes if they have success early, they don't want to really hear, they kind of tune out what the coach say when the coach trying to, make them better. So hopefully Patrick Mahomes, stay on the right course. But right now, he's playing very well, man. And a surprising quarterback is Fitzpatrick from the Buccaneers, man. Now, we all know Jameis Winston is suspended for the first 3 games due to his Uber incident with the Uber driver, female Uber driver, and hopefully he learns his lesson from that. Jameis Winston, he's a decent quarterback, but he has kind of regressed. He's not gotten better. It surprised me that he's not really gotten a whole lot better since he came out, of college. His first year was all right, you know what I'm saying, but he kind of regressed that second year. Picked up a little bit in the third year in the beginning of the season, but then kind of tailed off. So I think this is a referendum on Jameis Winston's career, especially with Fitzpatrick playing the way he's playing. He threw 4 touchdowns last week, and he threw 4 touchdowns this week. Now, if he throw another 4 touchdowns in this game coming up right before Jameis Winston's suspension is up, how do you sit the guy down on the bench? How do you sit Fitzpatrick on the bench if he had 3 really good performances in a row? Because right now he's having more rapport in these last 2 games with his receivers than Jameis Winston did his first 3-4 years in the league. So how do you tell? Look, those. One thing about the NFL, I'm going to tell you one thing about professional football, period, any sport. especially in NFL, when a quarterback does very well and those receivers are eating and you're winning and the team is feeling good, it's hard to sit that guy down. Now, I believe they will because they did pick Jameis Winston #1 overall a couple years back, 3-4 years back. And they want to. One thing about teams, man, organizations, when they pick players that high, they're gonna give that player every chance to succeed. So they're gonna give Jameis Winston every chance to succeed. But I believe this is his last chance. I really do. I believe this. He has to come in and play very well. He may have a short leash because if he struggle, because they won 2 games in a row. I predicted that they were going to be 0-3 when Jameis Winston came back because I didn't think dude was going to play well. I didn't think Fitzpatrick was going to play well. He's been in the league for a little while, so he's been a marginal quarterback. So I didn't think he was going to play well. But he surprised a lot of people, man. And like I said, he has taken ownership and hold of that offense. He played better in that offense than Jameis Winston has played in that offense in any game last year, any game. So Jameis Winston's gonna have to be on his game, man. I hope he's in the playbook right now, and I believe he's feeling a lot of pressure right now that Fitzpatrick is playing as well. And man, if I'm a coach of that team, man, it's gonna be hard for me to sit down Fitzpatrick because you have all that momentum, then you change quarterbacks. Now, see, one thing about people don't realize, NFL quarterbacks, they all have a different angle in which the ball comes out. So the receivers are going to be so used to, they're used to Jameis Winston, but they're not used to having this much success that they having with Fitzpatrick than with Jameis Winston. So the ball angles coming out a different way. Jameis Winston kind of hold on to the ball a lot. Jameis Winston is prone to throwing interceptions. He was like that in college. Even when Jameis Winston won the Heisman, he turned the ball over a lot. He turned the ball over a lot in college. So, and it's followed him into the NFL. He's turning the ball a lot over in the NFL. So he's gonna have a short leash, man. If he have a bad game, man, the crowd gonna be hollering for Fitzpatrick. No matter how much they like Jameis Winston, that the fans want to win in the end, and they gonna see that if Fitzpatrick can get them to 3-0, it's gonna be tough for Jameis, man. Oh, another thing I want to talk about, man, is what's up with the Cleveland Browns kicker, man. He missed 3 extra points and he missed the field goal, the tying field goal. Now, if he hit all 3 of his extra points and hit that field goal, they win the game. I believe that young man's gonna get cut, man. It's tough. But how can you hold on to him mentally? Like, where is he at mentally? Now, will they hold on to him and give him another chance, give him another week? They may do it. They might do it, but I know some old school coaches that would have, let him go quick because you can't have your team work that hard, to score touchdowns or to get down there for the tying field goal and the field goal kicker. They were not even close. Now, I know they moved the extra point to the 30-yard line now. I believe it's at the 30 or 35-yard line. One of them is the 30-yard line. So it's not like it used to be. I think the extra point used to be on the 15-yard line or something like that. So they have moved it back because they said it was too repetition. Like, everybody knew that the extra point was going to go in. So they were trying to make it harder. And since they moved it back, people have been missing those extra points, man. Because it's like a mini field goal. The kicker a comparable kicker should still hit the extra point, at least at a 90% clip, at least. So I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it had something to do with the snapper or the holder, because the snapper from the holder to the kicker is like 3 phases. The snapper has to snap it clean to the holder, and the holder has to hold it at a certain angle for the kicker to kick the ball through. But I don't think it had nothing to do with the snapper or the holder because the kicks were so far off. He was shanking them, and far right. So at this point, it's gonna get in his head. It's gonna be a confidence thing. Sometimes the kickers that are out on the street are out on the street for a reason. Players that are out on the street right now are out on the street. Now, you can say one or two things. Either they're out on the street because, some teams carry more linebackers than the others, and some teams carry more quarterbacks than the other teams, and they usually don't carry two kickers anyway. You only carry at least one. Most teams, maybe all of them, probably carry one kicker, one punter, and they may have an emergency kicker or somebody that they used to kick in college or something that can kick pretty good, just in case the kicker go down and get hurt. All the teams may have a guy like that as a specialist that can punt and can kick a field goal if you need them. You won't use them for the duration of the year, but in the spots they can do it. They can execute that, a punt or a field goal. But his last name is Gonzalez. I feel bad for the kid, man, but I think they're gonna end up letting him go. It was another good game that I want to talk about was the Vikings and the Packers. They end up tying. Now, to me, this is the dumbest thing in sports, man. A tie is the dumbest thing in sports. Why in the world would you end a competition that's supposed to end with a winner? Why would you end it in a tie? I don't get that, man. I'm trying to fathom this, man. I'm trying to. If you don't want the players to keep playing, and I understand that they already played a lot, and just either have the kickers come out and see who can kick the longest field goal, man. See who can hit the longest field goal. You know what I'm saying? Start the field goal from the 45-yard line and see which one of those kickers from either team that can make it. They both make it, move it back 5. They both make it, move it back 5 more until one of them fall off. Or, I don't know, man. You got to do something to not end this football in a tie. Why in the world is football? They had a game last week. Who ended in a tie? Cleveland and Pittsburgh ended in a tie last week. Like, come on, man. Y'all got to stop this tie stuff, man. Because at the end of the year, it makes records like teams trying to get in the playoffs, and all of a sudden you got a tie on there when y'all could have rectified the game some type of way to one of the teams won. And now we sitting up here with a stupid tie. I don't get it, man. It's stupid. The Jacksonville Jaguars handing it to the Patriots the last time I seen. Jalen Ramsey talked a lot of stuff about Gronkowski, man. It seemed like he bagged it up. Now, I don't know. I didn't see the game, so I don't know how many times he guarded Gronkowski. So I don't know, to that effect. But, the Jacksonville Jaguars got a really good team. It all come down to Blake Bortles for the Jaguars. Can he make enough plays for them to win? They have a stout defense, especially that front four. They got a really good secondary, too. They got 2 good corners. They got that other guy, Boyle, that nobody really talk about. Everybody talk about Jalen Ramsey because Jalen Ramsey is like more outspoken, more boisterous. He's a confident guy. I ain't gonna say overly confident. He's a confident guy. He bags up his rhetoric. But he gonna have to bag it up a lot this year because he made a lot of statements early in the year calling people trash and all this. I just think that a lot of that is just for him to sell himself. You know what I'm saying? So. He probably do believe some of it, but, to say some people are all right, to say Gronkowski is all right, you could just look at Gronkowski's track record and that the man is more than all right. Even with all the injuries that Gronkowski had, I think he still got like 70-something touchdowns, or 60-something touchdowns, some crazy number. So he's not overrated by no means. But, the Jacksonville Jaguars got a really good team. To me, last year they should have beat the Patriots in the playoffs. They took a dump. They just took a dump. They just took their foot off the pedal. And like I said, Blake Bortles, he just didn't make enough plays coming down the stretch. And that's just what it came down to. Anybody out there that's on this live listening, who's your favorite team? My favorite team is the Chicago Bears. Yeah, they gave up the 20-point lead to Green Bay, but I'm so used to the Bears losing to Green Bay, man. Every year when the Bears play Green Bay Packers, if we win one of the games, I'm happy. Because Green Bay has been doing. I'm 41 years old. Green Bay been doing it to us a long time. First, it was I remember it was a quarterback named Don Majkowski, and they used to call him the Magic Man. Don Majkowski. He used to come back on a. He was like the comeback king back then a little bit, and I remember the game he got hurt in. I was like, okay, man, we're gonna win this game because Don Mikowski is hurt. Man, we're gonna win this game. And Brett, and that was Brett Favre. That's when Brett Favre came in, and I was like, man, who is Brett Favre? Brett Favre ain't finna beat us. You know what I'm saying? He's on the bench for a reason. Man came out and beat us, man. And ever since then, I think the Bears. I think the whole time Brett Favre was a quarterback, I believe the Bears maybe beat him 5, 6 times, maybe. And I think we only beat Aaron Rodgers maybe about 4 times since he's been quarterback. So we've been getting pounced because we used to have the league. I mean the you know what I'm saying, the record between Green Bay and the Bears. When I first started looking at football, with a educated eye. I mean, I remember I seen the Super Bowl, but I was only 9 years old when I seen the '85 Super Bowl. But when I started looking at it with an educated eye by like 1990, the Bears was like up like 15, 16 games over, maybe more than that. It had to be like 20 something games over the Packers in the head to head match. Because the Bears and the Packers are the longest rivalry in the NFL history. So we had a lead, and I think last week when we gave that 20-point lead, Green Bay took over the league. So that tells you a lot. That tell you how dominant they were in the last 20 years against the Bears. 25 years against the Bears. Dominant, man. They beat us all the time. So I was not surprised. I went into that game saying we are going to lose that game anyway. I marked that game as a loss. But when we got the lead, I expected us to win. The Bears kind of took their foot off the gas pedal because when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, they had a sigh of relief like, okay, Aaron Rodgers hurt. And plus, Khalil Mack had a dominant game. So far he earning the money so far. But, yeah, he had a very dominant game. The guy had, 2 forced fumbles. One of the fumbles, he just took the ball out of what's name's hand, just took it out of his hand. Just give me this. Just took it. And he had he read that screen and got that touchdown, a pick six. So yeah, he played very well. But let me get back to these NFL games. What other game I want to talk about? I want to talk about another game I seen that was crazy. I know I talked about Fitzpatrick playing well. I talked about that Green Bay game. I talked about Patrick Mahomes. Cleveland is playing well. They had that tie last week with Pittsburgh. They should have won that game. And yeah, Cleveland is playing very well this year, man. Very, very well. I mean, with the last 2 years, I think they won 1 or 2 games. So, it only can look up for them. Now, some people say that the Cleveland Browns gonna win 8 games this year. I don't know if they would have won that Pittsburgh game, that first game, I would have said maybe they can squeeze out 8. I think they may win 6. The Jets are playing well. The New York Jets are playing well. I think they are losing to the Dolphins though, but they're playing well. Sam Darnold was playing a pretty decent. Last week he had a good game against the Lions, but Stafford he took a dump. He threw like four interceptions. I had him on my DraftKings, man. I hated that I used him, man. I'm like, man, this dude, because usually Stafford he played very well at home. Usually he played very well at home. He just took a dump, man. I was like, come on, dude. As soon as I pick you, you play bad when I pick you. But I want to talk about the 49ers beat the Lions, I believe. The 49ers beat the Lions, right? If I'm not mistaken, the 49ers beat the Lions. So, what's name got his first win of the season, Garoppolo. Garoppolo, I like him. He's a pretty good quarterback. They don't have no weapons. Don't have that many weapons around him. When they get weapons around him, I think I will have a better take on him. But I mean, he can play. Obviously, he can play. But I think they will have more success as they get more players around them. Who else, man? I want to talk about. Because this NFL's Cam Newton took a crazy shot. He slid and he still got hit upside the head. Could that player have pulled up? Yes, you can clearly see that he could have pulled up. But I'm gonna tell you one thing about them defensive players. They hate to see them quarterbacks when them quarterbacks run and they get them long gains, and now the quarterback can give himself up. See back when I was looking at football, I mean back 10, 20, 15 years ago, quarterback couldn't give himself up like that. He couldn't slide and give himself up. It's hard for a defensive player, and I know it's hard for them when a quarterback takes off. He gets like 15, 20 yards, and then he slide, and you can't do nothing about it. He can get up laughing at you because you can't hit him. I think defensive players they are fed up with that quarterback. That they are fed up with quarterbacks being treated like pillows because quarterbacks are. I remember the day you can pounce a quarterback. Because I remember when Green Bay played, you're gonna get a lot of the Green Bay Chicago themes when I do these NFL Sunday things because it's like a lot of memories between the Green Bay Packers and the Bears. Some of them, a lot of them bad, but I remember when when one of the Green Bay defensive players picked up Jim McMahon and slammed on his back, man, and hurt him for the year, and that's when the Bears was trying to go for back-to-back Super Bowls, and that's when the Bears brought in Doug Flutie, 2 weeks before the playoffs, man. The Bears had won 13 games that year. They was coming off that year when they won the Super Bowl when they went 15-1, and they was coming off of that, and then they the next year they went 13-3, and Jim McMahon was hurt. I believe we would have won the Super Bowl if Jim McMahon was hurt, but yeah, I remember you could just pounce quarterbacks. You can't do that no more. You can't hit them at the legs. So I remember when the Pittsburgh Steelers hit Carson Palmer in the knee and messed it. No, it all started with Tom Brady. When Tom Brady got hurt that year, when he got hit in the knee, that's when they changed that rule. You cannot hit the quarterbacks at the knee. And I remember when Pittsburgh Steelers hit Carson Palmer at the knee, and he tore his ACL. He had threw that long touchdown. Because I believe. I believe the Bengals would have beat Pittsburgh that year. Because the Bengals had a pretty good team when they had Husmanzada, they had Carson Palmer, they had Chad Johnson. They had a real good offense. They had a potent offense. They had a pretty good defense too. They just couldn't get over the hump. They just couldn't get past Pittsburgh. Just like Pittsburgh can't get past the Patriots. But yeah, man, I just want to do this football Sunday recap. This is my first time doing this, man. I'm gonna do some more, talk about more games next week, and I'm gonna do some picks too. I'm gonna do some picks on I'm gonna do pick Saturday where I pick the teams I think gonna win on Sunday. If y'all want to, get into it and pick teams, we can all do that, and we can come back Sunday and see who picked the most teams. But I'm out, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel.